Yo, what's going on everyone? We are back with another reaction video. Thank you so much for stopping by to the channel today, and thank you so much for all the recommendations towards this video. The love and support really means a lot. You guys have really been spamming the comment section and using that suggestion link down below in the description, and I highly appreciate it. Today we'll be checking out Canadians change when they hear the word war. I would too. I hear the word war. I'll be, whoa, I'm ducking low. What I got to do, what I got to worry about, you know? I don't know how it is over there in Canada, but over here in America, man, these people relying on that ammunition. They relying on their firearms. That's the first thing they jump to for any, just for anything. And I'm not even saying that's the right way. War is just bad in general, man. War is bad. We're not going to sit here and be like, war. We're not sitting here hoorahing to war, though. And this video is probably going to be sad too. So this is probably going to be as much hype as you're going to get in this video. Well, let's just see. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn all post notifications on. Thank you so much for stopping by to the channel today. The love and support really means a lot. Let's jump right into this video.
Sorry, not sorry.
Oh.
While Canadians are nowadays subject to the stereotype of hockey-loving, maple syrup-chugging, overly polite potheads, their wartime stereotypes in the First and Second World Wars had their enemies trembling in their boots and making a hot mess in their trousers.
Oh.
It says,
Wait. So Canada was like that. Y'all be going crazy then.
as if when the Canadians hear the word war, their insatiable desire for maple syrup and Canadian beer turns into an insatiable desire for blood. In saying that, however, they didn't always rush enemy positions with bayonets, meat cleavers, and spiked clubs, but were some of the most well-trained and formidable soldiers on any front in any war. In this video, we're going to explore Canadian wartime reputation, keeping our scope focused on World War II and the heroic feats of individual Canadian soldiers therein.
Okay, let's check it out, man. Here we go. Here we go. Now, I already know the Canadians don't play. I already know that, but let's really see. Let's see how extreme they take things. For real.
To get the puck sliding, let's move our scope quickly to the First World War, in which the Canadians laid the groundwork for their reputation as shock troopers. Mostly, the troops of the Canadian Corps were known for their savage raids on enemy trenches and their unwritten take no prisoner and kill the wounded policies. Locked in a stalemate in opposing trenches, the Canadians devised all manner of strategies and weaponry to flip the chessboard upside down and clean up the enemy pieces. Cutting through barbed wire, they crept upon them in the cover of night with painted faces, launching either savage, unforeshadowed raids, or perking up their ears and eavesdropping on enemy plans. In said raids, the Canadians gorged their bayonets with blood and made good use of improvised melee weapons, paying little attention to attempts at surrender and skewering bandaged and unarmed men just the same as men on their feet with rifles.
Oh my
They
goodness.
even concocted an alchemist's shelf of homebrew explosives, like pipe bombs and jam jars loaded with nails and gunpowder. I think it's a safe bet to say that at least one
Nails? Oh.
grenade is made with a maple syrup jar. There are also tales of Canadian troops using temporary truces, like on Christmas Day, as a chance to catch their enemy with his stockings on, sending him grenades instead of Christmas ham, and bullets through the brain instead of season's greetings.
That's
Now,
brutal, man.
it could be argued that Canadians were acting out of vengeance, but couldn't that argument be used to justify most atrocities in most wars?
Yeah.
Canadian Lieutenant R.C. Germain's letter home to his parents makes the revenge excuse about as clear as the sap from a freshly tapped maple tree. After losing half of my company there, we rushed them, and they had the nerve to throw up their hands and cry "Camarade." All the camarade they got was a foot of cold steel, while I blew their brains out with my revolver.
Oh my goodness.
Despite being a little stab happy with enemy soldiers, Canadian troops were known for being quite, as we contemporary folk have come to expect, polite to civilian populations. Before we have a look at Canadian reputation in World War II and some of its stories, it might pay to know about Canada's involvement in the war. Canada waited until the 10th of September 1939 to declare war on Germany because it didn't want to follow Britain like a Commonwealth sheep.
Right.
It took Canada until the 11th of June 1940 to declare war on Italy and the 7th of December 1941 to declare it on Japan.
Right.
Overall, about 10% of Canada's population fought for her and the Allies. This amounted to around 1,100,000 Canadians serving in the Canadian Army, the Royal Canadian Navy, and the Royal Canadian Air Force. Of this 1,100,000, the majority were volunteers. Canadians fought in almost every theatre of World War II, notably in the defence of the United Kingdom, the Battle of Hong Kong, the Dieppe Raid, the invasions of Sicily and Italy, the Normandy landings and the liberation of France, and the liberation of Belgium and the Netherlands. The Canadian Navy escorted Allied ships across the Atlantic and maintained a high presence in the Pacific Ocean, and pilots from the Canadian Air Force flew under the wing of the British Royal Air Force. German submarines sunk Canadian naval and merchant vessels in the water.
Come on now. I mean, come on. Oh, man. I see why y'all were unstoppable, man. Canadians alone. It seemed like y'all going crazy, but now you got Great Britain right by your side. I mean, come on. We all knew this. That extra support is there. Who messing with you? What? Who messing with Britain? Who messing with Great Britain? Nobody. We know that. They done took over. Oh, they invaded so many. I'ma just say they invaded most of this world. Nobody messing with them, man. We love Great Britain. That's our allies, for real. That's our part, man. We like this. For real. Imagine that. You got Canada and Great Britain side by side. Ooh. I'm trying to see how stronger the Canadian Navy is versus USA's, versus America's Navy. I mean, just the military in general. How is it? How is Canada's military in a whole versus America's military in a whole? You know, that's something I need to do some more research on and look up, you know. But that's the reason why I'm watching these videos, for that education.
Of Canada and Newfoundland and attacked the loading pier at Bell Island. And the Japanese also attacked a lighthouse on Vancouver Island, though little else occurred in Canadian waters or on mainland Canada. Of the military operations in which Canadians were involved, their ferocity and inventiveness stood out in the Battle of Ortona, the Normandy landings, and the liberation of Belgium and the Netherlands. Through the medieval streets of Ortona, Italy, the Canadians and Germans engaged in brutal room-to-room, hand-to-hand fighting, with the Germans eventually having to withdraw. Here, the Canadians coined the tactic mouse holding, which is basically blowing holes in buildings to allow the passage of infantry rather than running into enemy bullets in the open.
That's smart. That's
in the
very
D-Day
smart.
landings, the Canadians landed on Juno Beach, the second most resisted beachhead besides Omaha. The Canadians penetrated further inland than anyone else, coming up against some of the strongest units in the German military. In Belgium and the Netherlands, the Canadians spent thousands and thousands of Canadian lives to drive the Germans back and get food to the starving civilian populations. They even shared rations with civilians and gave them blankets. Some of the most intense combat here was in the Battle of Scheldt, where the Allies fought through flooded terrain against stiff German defenses for about a month. This battle alone cost the Canadians more than 6,000 casualties.
A month? Try a day, man. Try an hour, man. Try 30 minutes. Try 10 minutes. Forget all that. Try 10 minutes. Let's go to the beach and let's get off of this. Let's get off. Are these tanks? Not tanks, but like, yeah, they look like tanks, but they're going in the water, so it's like a boat. I don't really know how to explain it. What is the name for this? These were in the D-Day videos as well. I didn't want to sound foolish and make up a name for it. I gotta know the right name, the right term. Somebody please educate me in the comments. What is this called? The proper name. It's not a tank and it's not a boat. Where is it? But imagine getting off of this on shore. and the first thing you see is bullets flying at you. Well, you're not gonna see them. You're gonna hear them and be like, oh, the bullets flying at you. Not even 10 minutes. Can imagine.
This latter triumph, particularly the part about getting food to the starving civilians, is certainly keeping with Canadian tendencies in the First World War, though the following atrocity paints a bit of a different picture. Canadian Lieutenant Colonel Frederick E. Wiggle was shot dead on approach to the town of Friseute, Germany, and a rumor spread that it was a civilian sniper from that town who shot him. Back on that revenge—
No! A civilian? Like I said, man, you say war over here in the US, I feel like people gonna get trigger happy. And if it gets that bad to where this country is falling down, these people is right there from their window. Right there from their window waiting. Happy. Oh my goodness, man.
revenge train, the Canadians burnt down the entire town, apparently moving its citizens onward before setting their homes on fire. It was discovered later that Wiggle was shot by German soldiers.
Okay.
Now, the intent of emphasizing Canadian brutality in World War I and mentioning the Friseute incident is not to take away from Canadian bravery in either world conflict. Like I said before, Canadians were some of the most well-trained and formidable soldiers on any front in any war, and I think the best way to communicate that is to share some stories involving some of the most heroic Canadian soldiers in World War II. On the 14th of December 1943, Canadian Captain Paul Triquet and his company, supported by an armoured squadron, tried to cross the gully and take the Casa Berardi, a hamlet on the Orto Orsona lateral, Italy. Under heavy machine gun and mortar fire, Triquet ran around organising and inspiring what remained of his men, saying, "There are enemy in front of us, behind us and on our flanks. There is only one safe place. That is on the objective," before charging forward and breaking through the enemy line. Triquet's company and the supporting tank squadron pushed right up to the edge of Casa Berardi, where he set up defenses and fought off a tank-supported German counterattack with whatever weapons he could find. He held the defensive perimeter against superior numbers until the rest of the battalion came in and relieved the company. Triquet's utter disregard of danger, his cheerfulness and tireless devotion inspired his men, and his tactical skill and leadership facilitated the capture at a vital point on the Ortona Orsona lateral.
Absolutely. And you need somebody like him in that situation. You need somebody like him. Absolutely. Great leader.
On the 18th of August 1944, Canadian Major David Vivian Currie was in command of a force of tanks, self-propelled anti-tank guns and infantry. His task was to block an escape route from the Falaise pocket in the village of Solember-sur-Divers, Normandy. Currie went in alone to scout German defenses and to free the crew of 2 Allied tanks which were previously disabled. Under heavy mortar fire, he succeeded. The Germans then kept throwing counterattacks at Currie and his men until on the 20th, one final German counterattack was thwarted by Currie, costing the Germans some 2,900 casualties. Throughout these 3 days of intense combat, Currie displayed gallant conduct and a contempt of danger and collected and inspired his men. One of his officers said, "We knew at one stage that it was going to be a fight to the finish, but he was so cool about it, it was impossible for us to get excited." Over the 3 days, Currie barely got an hour's sleep, and when it was over, he fell asleep standing and then crashed to the ground. Currie's courage and devotion to duty had a far-reaching effect on the successful outcome of the battle. French-Canadian Corporal Leo Major was also in Normandy, where he captured a German armoured vehicle which held secret codes and lost an eye to a phosphorus grenade. He stayed in service, saying that he looked like a pirate. However, it wasn't in Normandy where Leo earned his first Distinguished Conduct Medal, but in the Netherlands in 1945. Actually, before we go there, Leo single-handedly captured 93 Germans in the Battle of Scheldt. when out
93?
on a solo reconnaissance mission in 1944.
He single-handedly captured 93 Germans? Wait a minute. That boy was not stopping. Oh my gosh. Ain't no fear in his heart. Imagine you capture one. There might be some American soldiers. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how our soldiers really are. In the span of that moment. But like in that exact moment, I don't know how our American soldiers are, but boy, I hope nobody would, be like, oh, I captured one German. Okay, I'm good. Let me sit back now. Let's sit back and scope it out. He went back and got a second one. He went back and got a third. He went back and got 10 more. I don't know if he did it. Did he do 93 at the same time? Imagine that. It ain't 93 at the same time, but regardless, he got 93 Germans. He kept going out there, back to back to back. That's crazy. Wait, German soldier? Wait, hold on.
Distinguished Conduct Medal, but in the Netherlands in 1945. Actually, before we go there, Leo single-handedly captured 93 Germans in the Battle of Scheldt. When out on a solo reconnaissance mission in 1944, he escorted all 93 of them back to his camp, where he would not accept a DCM because he considered the person awarding it to him to be incompetent. Back to 1945 and the real DCM. After breaking his back, ribs, and both ankles when the car he was in was hit by a landmine, Leo went on a recon mission with a friend in the city of Zwolle. His friend was killed, so Major continued alone, capturing a German soldier, making the soldier take him to his officer, who was in a bar, and then telling that German officer that the Canadian artillery was going to shell and kill them all. Leo then ran through the city, firing his gun and lobbing grenades, fooling the Germans into thinking the Canadian army was invading. All through the night, Major brought captured German troops back to his camp, resting in civilian houses whenever he needed to catch his breath. He then set a Gestapo HQ on fire and assaulted a Nazi SS HQ before meeting with members of the Dutch resistance and informing them that he had liberated the entire city
He's a
by
beast.
himself.
He's a beast.
I've got to say, that last one is pure insanity.
Nah, that's
what
crazy.
An absolute machine.
He's a maniac. A unit, a machine. What other word can I say? What? That man said, yeah, I blew up the whole city. I took down a whole city. Imagine speaking to somebody that, you never know what somebody's capable of. That's why it's always nice to be nice and respectful to people. Yeah, especially when you don't know them.
Overall, based on the available evidence at least, I think Canadians in World War II abandoned their unofficial take no prisoner and kill the wounded policies of World War I. Obviously, this is a generalization, and the Vliesuyte incident certainly demonstrates that they were at least capable of unjust violence, though there is no comparing the deeds of the Canadians to, say, the Germans, the Japanese, and the Soviets.
Okay, so, what was it, 93? It was 93, so he saved 93 Germans. He saved 93 Germans and took them back to the troops, to his troops. Because then after that, it said he captured a German soldier. Yeah. He said he seen a German soldier and said, would it take me to your lieutenant, I think he said, and then delivered this message. He found I don't know if it was a lieutenant, but he said he found a German soldier and he gave him a message to deliver to, I guess it was his lieutenant. I think it was his lieutenant, actually. Was it his lieutenant? I don't know where that exact part is. I feel like it was his lieutenant where he said, hold on. I just want to see real quick. I just want to clarify. We left off at 11:09.
Phosphorus grenade. He stayed in service, saying that he looked like a pirate. However, it wasn't in Normandy where Leo earned his first Distinguished Conduct Medal, but in the Netherlands in 1945. Actually, before we go there, Leo single-handedly captured 93 Germans in the Battle of Schell.
Okay.
When out on a solo reconnaissance mission in 1944. He escorted all 93 of them back to his camp, where he would
Escorted all 93 of them back to the camp, I meant.
not accept a DCM because he considered the person awarding it to him to be incompetent.
I don't know where I got
Back
troops
to
from.
1945 and the real DCM. After breaking his back, ribs, and both ankles when the car he was in was hit by a landmine, Leo went on a recon mission with a friend in the city of Zwolle. His friend was killed, so Major continued alone, capturing a German soldier, making the soldier take him to his officer, who was in a bar.
Okay, he captured a German soldier and he made him take him to the officer. Okay, not lieutenant. I wanted to get it right, you see? You gotta respect these people's rank, man. Officer. It was officer, okay. To deliver that message. That's all I needed to clarify.
And then telling that German officer that the Canadian artillery was going to shell and kill them all.
Right. That's all I needed to clarify, man. You know, I like to know what I'm watching. Now we 100% on point again. We 100% on track. We got it all down. That was going to drive me crazy.
And assaulted a Nazi SS HQ before meeting with members of the Dutch resistance and informing them that he had liberated the entire city.
The whole city.
By himself. I've got to say, that last one is pure insanity. What an absolute machine. Overall, based on the available evidence at least, I think Canadians in World War II abandoned their unofficial take no prisoner and kill the wounded policies of World War I. Obviously, this is a generalization, and the Vliesuyter incident certainly demonstrates that they were at least capable of unjust violence.
Yeah.
Though there is no comparing the deeds of the Canadians to, say, the Germans, the Japanese, and the Soviets. As evinced by the stories of Paul Triqueur, David Curry, and Leo Major, Canadian courage and formidability was in no short supply, and I believe modern-day Canadians should be proud of how the Canadian military cleaned up their act after World War I and made such a brave and significant contribution to an Allied victory in the Second World War. Anyways guys, make sure you let me know your thoughts on Canada and some of the super soldiers we mentioned in the last...
Yes. Please let me know down below in the comment section what you guys thought about this video. Honestly, feel free to educate me in the comments. I read all comments. You know I do. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn all post notifications on. Share this channel, share this video to your friends, your family members. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers and we are going to hit it fast. Once again, thank you so much for all these recommendations. The love and support truly means a lot. Rest in peace to all these lost soldiers. You know me, look, I'm human. I'm not just going to say rest in peace to all the lost Canadian soldiers. Rest in peace to all the German soldiers as well, because some of them were innocent and they was just doing their job, following orders, and they had families too. So regardless of being two different countries, two different sides, rest in peace to those lives too as well. We are human. We are human, and we are not disgusting people naturally. We don't just be, you know, rest in peace. That's what I'm just trying to say. We're not going to be like, yeah, only rest in peace to the Canadian. We're not doing that. Like I said, I don't bash no countries. I'm here for education. I'm here to learn. Rest in peace to all these soldiers. This was an amazing video, and I'm so thankful I clicked on this one to watch today. Honestly, I was just scrolling the recommendations, and I was like, let me watch this one. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Feel free to spam my comment section, please. And don't hesitate to use that suggestion link down below in my description. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe.